All right, what's going on, Giants fans? Week 6 offensive line report. This one is interesting. This one is real interesting because Andrew Thomas was benched for being late to a Saturday night meeting. And if there's one meeting you don't want to be late to, it's a Saturday night meeting. Get the whole team together. The head coach is speaking. Being late to that, it's noticeable. But anyways, so Andrew Thomas, we'll set it up if you don't know. Andrew Thomas was benched. He missed the first 2 drives. Matt Peart came in and looked pretty good. Then Matt Thomas had a bad job on a hinge play, which we'll go through, and then he got benched again. Judge said that was planned. I don't know if I'm totally buying that, but nonetheless, he did say that was planned for Peart to take that series anyways. Only 6 series in this game on offense. A weird game offensively. They only gave 1 sack, but they only dropped back 20 times. So those it's not like, oh wow, this offensive line has figured it out. So here's what I'll say, because I see people getting excited about Peart, and there's some things to be excited about. Learn from my mistake. After the Pittsburgh game, I was crowning Thomas. Like, you guys thought I was crazy. Well, now Thomas has had some struggles. So this Washington had no film on Peart, and the little film they did have, they did not prep for Peart. They prepped for Thomas. So let's relax with the Peart should be left tackle, Andrew Thomas should be right tackle. Well, let's relax. Now, Peart has shown enough to where I think he should get more reps. And hell, I was a little scared to start him, but go and start him at right tackle if you're fine. Because you'll see in this video, Cam Fleming had some struggles. But let's pump the brakes a little bit on Peart, and let's see how he does in game number 2 when he gets to play. So anyways, we'll start right there with Matt Peart. All right, so with Matt Peart, however you want to say it, it was good. It was good. It wasn't perfect. I don't think we should be clamoring for him to be the starting left tackle going forward, but it was good. It was good to see what we got out of him. And so, like I said, let's just go through it. Let's just go through it. This play doesn't look like anything special. It ends up turning into this long run by Freeman. But what I like about it is, one, I don't like the first step. Watch the first step. It's backwards. You never want your first step to be backwards unless you're doing a hinge block, which we'll talk about later with Andrew Thomas. And left tackles all over the league get killed by this. When that end is jumping in and you're trying to block outside, they get killed inside. But he does a good job recovering. Keeps his feet square, his base wide, and just seals him off. Freeman makes the block. Or Freeman makes the juke and gets 21 yards. Giving your guy a chance. Giving your guy a chance to make a play. So I like that. This one, just a good double team. Bam. Hips to hip. Hip to hip. That's how you want it. You're going to here. Hip to hip. That's how you want it. Hernandez comes off. Just wall him off. Wall him off. And that's what he does. Good stuff there. Here's a third down pass rep on the first drive of the game. Short, choppy steps. Short steps. Now, we'll talk about him. He opens his hips early. By mean like that is turning sideways like this. He does that early, which actually helps him in some ways. And some of the ways Thomas is getting beat is because he, in a sense, plays it right on a vertical kick slide. But when your QB plays in the pocket like this, that's fine. Because, yes, does he get around the edge around 7-8 yards? I mean, and think about the Andrew Thomas sack last week that led to a fumble. Jones was set up back here. If Jones is set up back here, this is a sack. But because he is moving up in the pocket and ends up getting sacked by Fleming's guy, it's fine. And what I do like is just mirrors. Wherever you go, I'm going. Good stuff. Keeps his feet wide like that. This one was the touchdown. This is the one he did let up a QB hit. So like I said, teams have been blitzing the Giants. So when you protect the inside like you do, when you open up your hips at 2-3 yards, when they're blitzing, you got pressure up the middle. So which means the QB can't step up in the pocket. And because of that, Jones gets hit by or swiped by Peart's guy on this one. Now we end up scoring a touchdown. But because he opens up his hips, he's got a nice way to bend that corner, and that's not even Sweat or Young. You know, that is Montez Sweat. Sorry. So it's like I said, it helps them in some ways, but in other ways, when they are blitzing and bringing pressure up the middle, it makes them it gives them a free rein to get a QB hit. But that was the only one of the game, so you can live with that. Next one is just a hinge block. They're running to the opposite side. You want this guy going upfield. Short, choppy steps, just making sure that he is not coming down here, which we'll talk about with Thomas, like I said. Next play. Great combo double to the linebacker. Like I said, hip to hip. Hernandez comes off, and the way he walls this off is beautiful. Does not let this guy cross his face. This guy is trying to get here, and he just totally walls him off. And doesn't quit on it either. I like that. This one, here's what I like. Is one, good job crossing face. But a lot of offensive linemen, they just assume the play is done, and they stand up here. Peart keeps his belly on him, being like, dude, there's no way. Like, if they're reversing field, I don't know. But what's not going to happen is you're going to make the play. So I like that from Peart. A lot of tackles don't do that. A lot of offensive linemen don't do that. This one just gets to the linebacker. This is a Jones read option. Bam, that's perfectly how you want to get him, and then you want to push him out. The linebacker kind of makes the play for him, but nonetheless, that's good stuff here. And then this one was the interception that wasn't really an interception, but I saw some people saying that he should have helped on Young. This is more on Garrett, which, we've talked about a lot. But basically, this is a 2-man route, 8-man protection. This is meant for Caden Smith, even if you don't make this block, you have to force Young to come here. You can't let Young come up here. Young swims him because he's a good player, and Caden Smith is a tight end. But the real issue is that this is a play where it's supposed to be long developing, but you have 2 routes. You're supposed to have space on this, but because it's in the red zone, these linebackers who could bite back and play action, they're already in good coverage. Whereas when you have space, these guys have more room. So that's more on Garrett than anything. And then Jones doesn't get it out of the back of the end zone. He does, but it's an interception, so bad. So overall, good stuff from Matt Peart in his first real action. All right, so with Andrew Thomas, weird game where he only gets 22 reps or whatever it was. I actually like some of the stuff he did. Wasn't perfect, but I like some of the stuff he did. Now, what will be remembered is the hinge block on the backside, with Mark Schlereth did a bad job describing it, which nonetheless, Mark Schlereth honestly has become my least favorite announcer. But part of that is we're like one of the worst teams in the NFL, so we get the worst announcing crew. I like Mark Schlereth as a guy. I think he's cool. But as an announcer, he's just not great. Anyways, Andrew Thomas, let's get into it. All right, with Thomas, you see some new stuff, some promising stuff. Gets driven back a couple times, but overall good. But like I said, these guys didn't get a lot of reps. I mean, they only had 6 drives in total, and then they split them half and half. So Thomas only ended up with like 22 reps, I think. So anyways, we'll go through it. Some things that he was doing last week that he kept doing again. So here we go. We got just a regular pass rep. This is a 3rd down. He jump sets quick. Good stuff. Punches. Now I know you're like, oh, he's leaning. That's fine. That is fine. Where he's got his head down over here and his arms down at his knees, that's when it's a problem. But he reloads, punches again, walls him off. Like I said, quick pass, but nonetheless, that's good right there. Next play, another 3rd down pass rep. I mean, that's if we're that's a good rep. A nice vertical slide. They're locked on, and he gets bulled a little bit, but he stands tall. Holds his ground there. He's not letting his inside get beat. He's not getting beat around the edge. I mean, that's a pocket. That's a pocket right there. Jones steps up in it. Now, ideally, you want to win here Ideally, this is where you want to win, is right here. Or if he's getting really vertical, you want him winning back here. But that's a win. That's a win, and it's a third down conversion because of it. Next play, just great movement on this double team. Hernandez comes off and just buries guys. He gets the running back rolls up on him, but nonetheless gets movement on the guy. This Montez Sweat, he has these long arms. He did it to Jedrick Wills, and I talked about it going into this game. He likes to long arm guys, and he bull rushes Thomas. It's not like necessarily a bad play by Thomas, but it's surely not a good one. Like you're not talking about great. What you do like is that he's not leaning forward and not getting ripped. But right here, when you realize that Sweat is doing this long arm thing, which he loves to do, you got to break these arms off. Whether it's using an inside swipe, whether it's using both of them to break him down from the top, but you got to get his hands off of you right there. But it's also getting better than getting beat inside or beat around the edge too. Here we go. So he's working his hands. This is new. Hand patter, and he's looking to get an inside move on him. That's what teams have been doing. So watch this foot when he does the hand thing. It's a small step, but it's protecting the inside because Sweat looks like he may juke back inside. Does that right hand and right foot. Maybe that might be something Colombo's teaching him. That use your right hand and foot at the same time when you're going to power inside. Because it's not a big step, but you like that it's up here instead of hinging back here. Sweat goes outside, recovers. Good job. That's a good play. I don't know if PFF counts that as a pressure, but that's a good play right there. Hope CJ Board's okay. Next play. Okay. This is the one that everyone's going to remember. Now, Judge said that this was planned for him to, not play the next series. I don't know about that, but it's a hinge block. So Mark Schlereth was wrong where he says he needs to come out and attack. It is, you take the right foot to protect from him coming inside, which a lot of guys struggle with. But the issue is he protects the inside. That's what you want to do. Right here, we're fine. At this point, we're completely fine. The problem is that you now have to get vertical and force him up here. You're not trying to maul this player. You're just trying to force him up here. Up this way. But he doesn't. He does exactly what you don't want to do, and now Sweat can scream down the line of scrimmage here. And that will be the play that he gets remembered from him in this game. That's the play that'll make people say that he shouldn't play left tackle anymore. That's the play. Again, protects inside. He's protecting inside here. He sees this guy moving. He protects inside. Punches. It's not the best punch, but he doesn't lose himself. And then finish off the block. Finish off the block. It's not his fault that Hernandez gets destroyed up here. That's not his fault. Or no, that's Gates that gets destroyed right there. I don't know who it is. We'll talk about that later. So, this isn't a bad game from Thomas, but when you get benched for reasons that aren't due to play, and then the other guy comes in and does well, then the heat is just going to get that much harder on a guy in a game where I thought he would have a complete full game where he looked good. All right, this is the part where I have to ask you to like and subscribe. Mostly subscribe. I don't really care about the likes. Just subscribe to the channel and like too, I guess. But anyways, next on the list we got Nick Gates. I'm a Nick Gates guy. He had some bad struggles in this game. Now, he had some good plays. We'll go through it. But there was some bad plays. I think his two worst plays of the entire year were in this game. So let's see what and Nick Gates would tell you that too, because he's a man of honor. All right, as always, we'll start with the bad. I mean, just simple. Nose tackle gets that right hand on him, pulls, swims him, and then Gates on all four. I mean, that's bad. And Fleming ends up getting blown up on this play too. If you want to watch it, this was one we didn't show on Fleming later. Young beats him inside, and the play gets blown up by these two guys. Hernandez tries to save Gates, but the play gets blown up by these two guys. Next play. This one is like, it's like good. And I put it in there because the guy, like, this is what he's trying to do, is to hold and then rip and do the bull, kind of a pull. And so he's able to get one hand on Freeman. So it's a mix of, like, that kind of happens in a run game, but nonetheless, it's not good. And he makes the tackle. I mean, it's a good run play when you look at it. Got 4 or 5 yards, but overall, not good. This one, again, guy comes from the backside A gap and comes to the play side, and Gates just gets beat. Probably the two worst plays of Nick Gates' season in those 3 plays I just went. I mean, those are probably the two. There was a couple bad ones against Pittsburgh, but those are the two. I view those as the two worst of the season. I really do. And on this one, this isn't like, oh, look at him screw this block up. Here's my thing. Dude, attack. Come hit somebody. I don't know what he's doing here. I don't know if this is coached or what. But come hit somebody here and let Jones try and bury in behind you. Because when you play hesitant, because watch, now Jones is trying to play off of him instead of just, he shouldn't be breaking down right here. He should be going full speed behind him. And you watch Jones just like put it like come on, go. So that's kind of frustrating. Here, let's see what this one is. Okay, this one, not horrible, but gives up penetration, about a yard of penetration. He's scraping, and then he trips on here. If he doesn't get pushed back a half yard or yard, whatever it is, that doesn't happen. And then his guy's able to make the tackle. So some bad stuff from Gates, but let's talk about the good. Just a good combo block here with him and Hernandez. Hernandez comes off. Gates stays on his guy. And it leads to a big play. This was the first run play of the game. That one was more Hernandez than Gates, but I figured I'd put it on there. On this next one, this is just a good pass rep. A lot of times he's not covered unless it's a blitz and then the ball's getting out quick or they're trying to get it out quick. A lot of times he's helping. He's sliding back and seeing who he needs to help. This one's just a good pass rep. He has someone straight up. He recovers in it. That's a good pass rep. You like that as your quarterback. You like that as a quarterback. Here, this is what we like about Gates. We haven't seen a center do this in a long time. Where it's like, oh, you want to try and get upfield? Well, I'll just bury you and I'll open up a hole. I'll just bury you and open up a hole. And put the belly on him. You gotta like that. And then this one was just a pull. Him and Zeitler pulling. And like I said, pulling on the outside as an offensive lineman, it's not about getting perfect technique. It's about just getting a hat on a hat. And that's what Gates does against Landon Collins. Just make this guy pick a side. And that's what he does. And Freeman's able to come off of it. So, you see the stuff while you like Gates, but man, there were some bad plays in there. All right, let's finish off with some bad Cam Fleming plays, but good overall as a unit plays. All right, first play is a sack from Fleming. It actually starts out pretty good. Stays square in his set. And then, once he gets the bull, kind of anchors down, but he doesn't swing that left foot over, and he doesn't wall him off, and he's able to beat him inside. And with Jones having this type of pocket, I mean, everyone else is doing a great job. With Jones having that type of pocket, you kind of want to let him come up here. Let him come beat you out here instead of in here. Because then, even though on the back end there's nobody open, if he comes across and then possibly there's a lane for Jones to run, But at that point, the play's over. It's a sack. Again, Chase Young's a beast. Just beats, gets his hands, just swipes those hands of Cam Fleming. Swipes. I mean, easy. That's why the guy was picked second in the draft. Again, same exact thing. Same exact thing. The ball comes out quick. Swipes those hands. Swims. And Zeitler is able to help out a little bit, but nonetheless, the ball's already out there. And this one was on the final Giants offensive drive. This was the last play. This one was actually more Will Hernandez. Hernandez just gets beat inside. Forces Jones to come out of the pocket. And we talked about this play earlier with Thomas. Thomas does a good job, but when you take a screenshot, it looks like, oh, Thomas's guy's chasing him. Well, it's like, yeah, because Thomas had the run because of Hernandez. And then Fleming, like, right there is good. And, you know, if Hernandez is able to do a good job, there's a lane for Jones to step up in. But there's not. All right, so let's get good. Let's go through some good. Let's go through some good. On this play, just good pass pro on everybody. On everybody. That's a throwing lane right there. That's a throwing lane. Fleming is doing his job. Thomas is doing his job. Gates and Zeitler are working a double team. Would rather Gates help more instead of just going for the knockout punch. Hernandez is doing his job. That's a throwing lane on third down, and it ends up being a first down. Next play, I'm going to give Jason Garrett credit on this. It's a well-designed play. So you got the motion man. So the motion man occupies him. Now let's watch Cam Fleming and Kevin Zeitler. This isn't even like so much on the run on the offensive line. This is just, I was actually surprised to see this from Garrett. They just leave this guy unblocked. That's the unblocked guy for the puller. So it looks like, oh, they have two guys unblocked, but you're assuming that Chase Young takes care of the sweep. And then they come up to these guys. Now, I don't know if I can be mad at Zeitler on this one, because he does let the guy in front of him go, but he's also blocking the backside. Fleming, I don't know, maybe that was on Fleming, because Fleming looks back. My whole thing is, if you're going to mess up at 100 miles per hour. At this point, there's no point of looking back, Cam Fleming. Come and hit 54. Doesn't matter that someone's already trying to block him. Come hit somebody. Come hit 26. Looking back does absolutely nothing. Because look, Freeman makes a play. If he blocks 54, I mean, there's a lane here. And we know that guy can screw up sometimes. This next one, just good job by the guards, Will Hernandez and Kevin Zeitler. Kevin Zeitler pulling. Will Hernandez just washes their guys out. Tight ends do a good job on this play too. Clears a lane. 9-yard gain. Next play, good awareness by Kevin Zeitler. It's a zone. He doesn't get too eager. Guy comes off Will Hernandez. Zeitler seals that off. Gets Freeman a lane. Collins comes up and makes that play, but that's a good lane. And this was just a good block play by the run. Gates has his guy. These two double combo up to here. So that's Peart. Yep, we went like that. Fleming's doing a good job on the backside. Kevin Zeitler right here. So that's some good stuff. The third quarter was actually really good for this team run blocking wise. Again, like, subscribe. And I'm doing, if you're watching this within the first 4 hours of being posted, I'm doing a Reddit Ask Me Anything at 2. I'm a little nervous because I'm not a beat reporter or anything, but they asked me to do it. So go in there and light it up. Light it up. All right, thank you guys. Let's go Big Blue.